Hey guys, got a video here today on the Snowpeak AP900, and in this one I want to get a few extra shots from the rifle. So at the moment I'm getting around 45 to 50 from a full fill, with the rifle running at around 760 feet per second, which for me is a little low. My initial goal was to get around 80 shots from a 250 bar fill, with the rifle running at just under 780 feet per second using JSB 8.44 grain pellets. So this was achieved fairly easily, and then with a little more tweaking I managed to bump that up to around 90 shots, which I'm very happy with considering the rifle has a short barrel and a small cylinder. With that said, there is more room for improvement, and what I'll do is go over at the end of the video how I think that's possible, but for now I have a nice balance between smooth cocking, overall ease of use, and shot count. So first stage is to make a new lightened hammer. I'm also going to be replacing the original hammer spring with a shorter, softer one, then doing a few other modifications to the action, but don't worry, I'll pull them out and show you exactly what I've done very shortly. For now though, I'm making the new lightweight hammer, and the process is fairly self-explanatory. For the most part I am copying the original design, but instead of making the hammer all out of steel, I am going to sleeve the hammer using a piece of Delrin. This will allow me to keep the same external dimensions, but because plastic is much lighter than steel, the hammer will have a reduced overall weight. It will make more sense when you see the finished piece, but essentially it's going to be a steel core with the striking face and trigger sear latching point made from steel, and a Delrin outer sleeve pressed over. The Delrin will also act as a little bit of bearing material, so it should slide up and down the hammerway nicely. With that said, the material I'm using here is some EN24T or some 4340 for my ANSI viewers. So this is a nickel chromoly steel that is nice and tough, and it can also be hardened. I haven't hardened this particular hammer just yet, as I still have one or two more things to try, but I'll do that at a later date. Right then, for now though, why a lighter hammer? So the answer to that question is fairly simple. The original one is too heavy, and it's causing the valve dwell time to be unnecessarily high. In other words, the valve is being left open for too long and the rifle is wasting air. This, coupled with the long heavy spring, which is causing hammer bounce, and the choked transfer port, the rifle is set up quite poorly. The original hammer weighs in at 52 grams, and in total I've made 3 hammers. One at 35 grams, the other at 23 grams, then finally one at 16 grams. The one that you're seeing me make in the video is 23 grams, and this is the one that I'm running in my current setup. The 3 hammers were made to test out different weights to see what would give me the best shot count and overall rifle setup. I will say I didn't want to go balls to the wall setting the rifle up perfectly to get the most amount of shots. I wanted a more balanced approach, which would give me a few extra shots and make the rifle a lot nicer to operate. More specifically, I wanted to remove some of the tension on the cocking arm and trigger, lightening both of these areas up quite considerably. With that all said, after the rifle was retuned, the accuracy did change quite dramatically. I am not sure if this was due to the fact the rifle wasn't dumping a load of turbulent air behind the pellet, or because the recoil was much less noticeable, but the groups tightened up quite nicely, and I did even manage to get some decent groups at 50 yards using the magazine. I do have a little bit of scope cam footage which I'll show you later, but it was certainly a welcome change. For now though, that's the hammer complete. We can now go over to the bench and I'll show you the final components. Right then, over at the bench I've got the new and the old components laid out side by side so you can see what the differences are. So first things first, here is our hammer. As I said earlier, this one here weighs in at 23 grams and is simply a replacement for the original one. So the only thing I'll mention about this is the hole in the end is used to help with air displacement so that the hammer doesn't act like a piston as it travels through the hammerway. Apart from that, we have our Delrin sleeve on the outside, and all other dimensions are pretty much the same. And then I also did make a slightly heavier one, so this is the 35-gram hammer. You can see the only difference is that the Delrin sleeve doesn't go all the way up. Then I have also got a lighter one by my side, and the only difference with that one is the internals are bored out more. Moving on to our hammer spring, so I'm not quite sure where this one came from, but you can see there the coils are a little thinner than the original one, and it is a little shorter. So I'll get you some measurements here. So the spring itself is around 44 millimeters long, so it's about 16.5 millimeters in diameter. The coils themselves are about 1.4 millimeters thick, and it has a coil pitch, so the difference between the coils, of about 7 or so millimeters. The only other interesting thing about this spring itself is that when it's all put together and the rifle is working as it should, there isn't any hammer preload, so the hammer itself isn't being forced up against the valve by the hammer spring. It's short enough so that there is a tiny bit of free play between the hammer and the valve pin, and this is very important when you're trying to minimize hammer bounce. So if you were cutting down your original spring, just make sure that you have a little bit of free play between your hammer and your valve pin. Moving on from that, here we have the new transfer pull puck. So this is one that I just made from PTFE, and it's a good seal between the cylinder and the block itself. So the only thing I'll mention in terms of efficiency is that the hole through the middle is 2.6 millimeters. So this will still restrict the flow of air from the valve into the back of the barrel, but it does a real good job of evening out the shot-to-shot consistency, and it limits the power quite nicely. A more efficient setup would have a larger hole in this piece here. Right then, next up we come to the plenum chamber. So we have a couple of modifications here. The first one I'll mention is that I've added a new valve return spring spacer. The new one is 2.5 millimeters thicker than the original one, and it also has a conical spring guide on this side, just to keep the valve spring centralized when it's all built up. So the increased pressure on the valve return spring helps both with consistency and shot count. The spring itself is quite spongy, so I wanted to add just a little bit more preload to the spring to help the valve when it tries to close. The next thing I'll mention is that I've gone ahead and reduced the regulator pressure. So originally this was set at around 130 bar. I've gone ahead and reduced it to around 110. I did go ahead and make a little regulator tester for the regulator itself. It does have a little bit of creep on it, around 5 bar or so, but I'm not too worried about that. I can sort that out later. With the current reg pressure, an increase in reg pressure decreases power, so it's not a big issue. Right then, so with the rifle all put back together, on screen now I'll put a shot string I did over the chronograph, and compared with the factory setup I'm really quite happy with the improvement in shots. It's still nice and consistent, and in total I get around 7.5 magazines or 90 shots from a full 250 bar fill with no spiking when the rifle comes off reg. So I'm more than happy with the results. Doubling the original shot count is good going, and it is much nicer to sit behind and shoot, as the cocking effort and trigger pull is much lighter. With that said, the last thing I'll do is show you a little range footage and talk about the ideal rifle setup in terms of efficiency. Right then, first things first, on screen now you can see some range footage from Pete's Airgun Farm. I'm all set up in the 50-yard range with a target set out on the back wall, and what I'm doing here is just some 5-shot groups using the magazine and with the JSB short pellets. Right then, with that out of the way, we can start talking about ideal rifle setup for efficiency. Right then, so I could make this rifle here more efficient or get more shots out of it if I put in a lighter hammer and then cut down the original spring as I mentioned earlier. So what I would do is make sure the hammer had a little bit of free play between the hammer spring and the valve pin. Then I would use a nice big transfer pull puck, so say 3.5mm, and then set the power by removing weight from the hammer. Ideally, the power would be limited by hammer weight instead of transfer pull size, and this would mean that the valve was only releasing the air needed to achieve our desired FPS. I would still run the longer valve return spring spacer and set the regulator using the lane 5-bar method, and that setup there would be probably the most efficient. I'm pretty sure you can get around 100 shots from the rifle without too much work. The trickiest thing would probably be getting the hammer light enough. It could be done using titanium or an aluminium body with steel inserts for the striking face and latching point. There are plenty of ways to go about it if you are that way inclined and want to get the very most shots from the rifle. For now though, here's just a quick look at the groups done at both 50 yards and then 30 yards here at the bottom. With that said, the AP900 project is moving quite nicely. I still have a little more work to do on the rifle, so the next thing is going to be making a new shroud and moderator. Then I'm going to be anodizing or cerakoting all the parts of the rifle so it looks quite nice. If you're not aware, the block itself is painted, so it does start to look a little ratty after some work to it. The paint chips off quite easily, so I'm just going to get the block and probably a few other accessories cerakoted, and that'll be nice and hard wearing. For now though guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this particular video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been interesting or useful, and I'll see you in the next one when we make a moderator and shroud for the rifle.